Hey y'all, this is Church from Church's Intake. So let's get into another topic. Let's talk about destiny helpers, people that's supposed to be in your life to help you. And sometimes God shows you who they are through dreams, obviously through interaction. You know, you might build with someone, and God might reveal to you that this person could be a potential helpmate. Not saying like your helpmate as your wife or, a husband or a wife or something like that, but supposedly a potential helper that can help you advance yourself and your purpose, or, a colleague that you can, build with, and you guys both can achieve the goal. And there's certain people that's in your life that's supposed to help you. It could be a family member. It could be a friend that you grew up with. It could be a colleague that you ended up being friends with. And some people, when they find out about who are supposed to help them in their journey to prosper or get to the next level in their purpose, some people crash out. And there's ways of going around these things when God might reveal someone and you know that that person was potentially a person that was supposed to be a destiny helper. That's what a destiny helper would be. Someone to help you in your purpose and achieving your goals for the betterment of you, and obviously growing and glorifying God in the kingdom. But some people, when they find these things out from certain folks, they'll crash out like, yo, you were supposed to help me, and all you did was cause destruction. Just as well as God might show you who your destiny helper might be, that person might also know that they're supposed to help you, but they will refuse to help you because you might end up leveling up further than they. And this is the thing when I'm talking about, like, some people will crash out over this circumstance because it's like, yo, God, why'd you reveal these people to me or this person to me if all they're doing is coming up against me, trying to stagnate me and block me and stop me? Well, just as much as you have a choice to pursue your purpose, they also have a choice to pursue and help you in your purpose of growing to the next level, which would actually better help the both of you. But some people's mindset aren't all the way there. I'm gonna say it like that. Their mindset's not ready, or their mindset as, I've been crushed so many times. Why is God going to use you when God could have been using me? And I got to help you get to your next level. And that's going to project you way above me, instead of looking at it as, I help you out, lift you up. You can lift me up and we can grow together. But some people don't understand how God works. God works in mysterious ways. He does not think like we as humans think. He thinks way beyond us. And there's ways that you can go about this. Like, if you were told, like if God showed you who your destiny helpers might have been, or some people that's in your life, like, not everyone that knows that's supposed to be a helper in your life truly know, because they're not on that journey. So God can't use them in that way until they was to find the right path that they're supposed to be on that journey, and then God will reveal that to them. So some people know, but others don't know. And the ones that know, this is basically what I'm talking about, the ones that do know, that resist God's, advances to help you get to the level that you're supposed to get to. they would rather work on obviously the other side, which would be Satan's side. You know what I mean? Because if you're not on God's team, you're on the other team by default. Even though you might think that you're coming up against this one person, well, God got that person covered. So if God's got that person covered and God's walking with that person and guiding that person, that means you're on the other team. You might not think so. You might be like, oh, well, I'm just not going to help this one person. But that's the one person that God wants you to help. And if you're going up against them, that means you're going up against him and her or God. If you're going up against him or her, that means you are going up directly against God, because God's got that person covered. Now, this is for the person that, God reveals these things to some of us, that's walking in his way. And some of us stray because of this circumstance that happens. It's like, yo, you gave me this destiny helper. This person got millions of dollars. He can help me with like snap of a finger. It wouldn't even be nothing to them. Or they can help me grow. They got so many avenues to get me to the levels I need to get to. They can help me grow. They should be promoting me, help me out. And they're not. God, like, what's going on? And then you have a beef with God, which you shouldn't, because as you are human, they are humans as well. And they're allowed to go. God's not going to force no one to follow the right path. It's your choice to follow the right path. So just like it's your choice to follow the right path, it's their choice to choose to help you or not. Now, there's ways in this. Like you're saying, God provides you with destiny helpers. I'm telling you, that God provides destiny helpers in your life. Some do, some don't. And the ones that don't, you can go about it in another way. And a lot of people don't realize these things, just as well as, you can be doing what you're doing and God can show these people to you, and you can see that avenue be like, bang, it's like a closed door now, because it's like, wow, they're not helping me. They're just coming up against me. They're trying every which way to stop, stagnate, block me, to not get to what I need to get to. They're causing more of a hindrance in my life, trying to work with them and grow with them, than it is for me to do it by myself. So a way that you can go about this is you could pray to God and ask him to release you from their help. And some people, like I said, will crash out, not trying to, comprehend the situation on why God would show them, why did you show this person to me? What was the purpose of that if you knew this person wasn't going to help me? It's not that God showed you just so he knows that that person wasn't going to help you. He was showing you because he was showing the elevation of you to growing. And yes, this person was destined to supposedly help you, but they're not. And God being God, he wants you to come back to him and tell him the scenario, even though he already knows the scenario. He already knows the outcome. He just wants to associate more with you. Hey, I'm giving you a little bit of information. I don't want you to go off the deep end, and go about it your own way, because I'm using you. I'm going to continue to use you. And you're going to come to me, you're going to pray to me, and I'm going to show you a way out of it, just like anyone else. For instance, like I'm explaining to you now, there's people in my life that was supposed to help me, and God grew me because I didn't just go off the deep end. Like I know a scenario and stories of others that did this. And I know it's a trial and tribulation. Through your trials and tribulations, you shall grow. Now, this is called growing. This is called maturing in the body, in the spiritual aspect of growing with God. Maturity is, hey, let me think about this. Why would God show me these things about these specific people or specific person in my life that he wanted to show me that this person was supposed to help me, but they didn't. And I gotta figure out why. It's like troubleshooting. Like I'm a natural troubleshooter. So for me, I didn't crash out. I mean, of course, it's frustrating to know certain people that's supposed to, potentially help you, but like I said, there's ways around it. So what you should do, as what I done did, is I prayed about it, reflected on it, and asked God to release me from these people that aren't going to help me, that was supposed to help me, because they are in your path. They know that they're supposed to help you. So as much as they know that they're supposed to help you to get to this level, they have a little bit of insight on your journey. And you might not know this, but this is true. They do have insight on, steps of your journey. They might get visions and things of that nature that you might not know, but they were supposed to tell you, but you don't know because they kept it to themselves because, like I said, they were trying to block, stagnate, and not assist you by any means necessary. So once you go to prayer and ask God, what's going on, and obviously you're gonna be like, yo, can you release me? You just want to be released from them, not in a harsh way and coming back to them like, yo, you supposed to help me. Da, 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 da. Nah, you ain't supposed to argue with these people, because I said some of them know and some of them don't know. Now, you might know the ones that know, and y'all both know what it is, you know what I mean? Because you grew with this person. It could be your brother, your sibling, you know what I'm saying? Your sister, your mama, your daddy. It could be your auntie, your uncle, anybody, a close friend, anybody, a co-worker, whoever. But you're not supposed to, if they're not on that same level as you, like, everybody ain't trying to indulge in their purpose. You have to understand that too. Everybody ain't trying to make it to top level of their life to achieve goals that they never thought could happen in their life. And that's all right. But you still have to be released from these people, because if you're not released from these people and you keep these people in close proximity to you, they're going to keep on trying to stagnate, block you, and cause delays in your life. And you have to release yourself. So you got to pray to God about it and say, hey, God, I need you to release me. Can we do it another way? Can I do it by myself with you instead of them? And they'll still be thinking like, oh, well, the way I know, from my visions and what was told and what I seen, because you got to understand that some of these people are witches and warlocks. You know what I'm saying? That God's trying to switch them back over. Like, yo, you should be helping this person, but they thinking that they got power and holding you back because you have to go through them, and you don't. You really don't have to go through them. You have to go through God, and God is the one with all the keys. So you ask to be released from God, from them. And then you ask God if you got enough strength to do it by yourself. Or if you think that you might need help from another person, ask God to give you new helpers. That's what you should do. You should ask God for new people. Show you new people. Show you new insight. Start, congregating with strangers. Anything but them. It's like, tell God, talk to God. God says, come to me. I want to hear you. I want to hear your cries. I want to hear your problems. Even though he knows all your problems, he wants to build with you. So he's going to make other avenues. If you're not the person that, hey, you know what? I want to just do it by myself. He'll bring someone else that can help you, and y'all can get there get together. You know what I mean? But you ain't supposed to stress about this. You ain't supposed to let this, take you off into the deep end. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to crash out, because a lot of people will leave God because they know that they seen a couple destiny helpers in their life, and God can use anybody. any helper. He can use whoever he feels like using. Like I said, he can give you new destiny helpers. Or he can just take you alone and you do it by yourself. But you have to ask him. And you have to also believe in the process and trust in the process. And trust that once he showed you these things from these people that was supposed to help you, that you will overcome whatever. And these people will be like, oh, well, they ain't gonna get to such and such level because they need me. That's a narcissistic person, believing that like they got godlike abilities, to think that you truly need them to excel in life, and you don't. Who you need is God. You need God to excel. You don't need no one else. You don't need no helpers. True story. You could do it by yourself. You just got to have the confidence. You got to have the faith. And you have to have the resolve for it. And you also have to ask to be released. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world. And a lot of people are more and more so indulging in wickedness. And that's what the flood was about. Great wickedness. And the wickedness that the flood was all about was doing witchcraft and sorcery. You know what I mean? Eating people and things of that nature, like doing the nastiest things known to mankind. That's what destroyed everything, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna come back to it. And some people just gotta realize it and know that some people are really out here working against you because they fell short. They didn't go to God like they thought. They didn't have the relationship with God like they assumed they did. And then when God showed them certain things, they really, if you're crashing out over that, that means you really didn't have true understanding, and you don't really know how God operates. And he operates in his own way, and that being said, I do know people that have known their destiny helpers, and yes, they crashed out, you know what I mean? Like, that's why they might not, you might think that some of these people, they go to church and everything, you know what I mean? And they'll tell you, like, you know what I mean, they worshiping God, showing God the glory and all of that, and it's all lies. They're hurt inside. They're just not expressing it to the people in the congregation because they don't want to be seen as a non-believer, and like truly understanding, like, that they would say like God failed me type of deal, because what they thought, the way that they thought that they were going to make it isn't the way that it transpired. And the whole thing is, the way that you might think that you're going to get to greatness isn't technically the way that God's going to get you to greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always, let's say, other doors, loopholes. You're going to see, miracles and things of that, like things that's going to look like it's like stagnant and would never come to pass, and then bam, God show you like, yeah, I'm him, and it comes to pass. Like, how did that happen? And then everyone would know that that was just God. They can't stop God's hand, and God does what he does because that's who he is. And like I said, I've known people, I've got stories, about people that, fell short, and basically listening to them talk, close relatives and such, talk about things. You can tell like they just gave up in a sense, like, yo, if this was the way and now this ain't the way anymore, they're not thinking like there's another way, they're just oh, it must be over. So you got to understand also that some people, they might be your destiny helpers, and they might not want to help you because in that time that they were supposed to be helped and go to God, they didn't go to God the right way. They didn't ask for, the help that they were supposed to ask for in the way that they were supposed to ask for. And, being released and saying, hey, I'll do it my way, like by myself. Like they wasn't thinking like, they was just like narrow-minded, like thinking like this is the only way. It's only one way when it's not. Like when you're working with God, there's millions of ways. That 0.0001% chance that this could happen, and that's the way it might go down. And it will happen because God is God. He is Him. He is Him. And like I said, when you come up in knowing and God starts to grow you, and He might show you some people that, hey, you thought could help you or you thought should help you, they might not help you. But there's backstories to that too as well. And you should ask for clarity about those things, like have an understanding to why, that person's like so resentful. Obviously, you should know why they're resentful towards you, because you're still having the faith, and that's what they're trying to break. They're trying to break your faith in God, and they're like, well, if they got to come through me, and I don't have no faith, oh, I'm gonna break them down because I'm gonna make sure that they don't have no faith, because they ain't gonna have no faith in me. So how are they gonna get to this next level? And it's like, when you truly have faith, you don't really need them. You can use whoever, but what I would just say is, release yourself from them if you feel as though that person's not going to help you. And God could work on that person, and maybe down the line or something, they might end up helping you, like, or down the line, you might have to help them, just like Joseph and his brothers, man. It goes down like that. Like, they thought, oh, Joseph was dead, and Joseph was the second in line, you know what I mean? Second man, head in charge. He was like the vice president, like, oh, listen, without me, you can't even eat, fam. Can't even eat, dog. So, and if Joseph didn't, truly work with God and grow with God and learn how God moves and stuff like that, at the end, Joseph wouldn't. He could have resentment towards his brothers and be like, man, y'all fend for yourself. Like, you left me out for dead. Like, why should I help you? And there was probably a point of time like Joseph probably wouldn't have helped them. But obviously the growing with God made it so that, he went through turmoil and all this, trials and tribulations. But at the end, he was blessed with greatness, and he was able to give back to even the ones that, try to kill him. And he forgave them, and he said, like, this is what God means about family. So he knew, like, it wasn't even just like the physical aspect of things. He wasn't in his emotions, you know what I mean? He learned the spiritual aspect of what God was trying to show him on how family is and stuff like that. Like, our perception of family isn't the perception that really goes down in this world that we live in. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm going to leave that one right there. We'll talk about it a little more later. On another note, God bless.